Anger is a bodyguard, and bodyguards are never the person you actually came to see. Here's what I mean. Anger is loud, it's fast, and it feels powerful, which is exactly why it's so useful. Because underneath it, almost every single time, is something quieter and a lot harder to admit. Something soft, and anger stands in front of that soft thing like a bouncer at a door, so nobody, including you, has to see what's really back there. Last video was about the story that lights the fuse. This one goes one layer deeper, the feeling the anger is guarding. Because if you can name that, even just to yourself, the whole thing loses its heat. Here's the mechanic. Anger is what psychologists sometimes call a secondary emotion. It shows up second in response to a first feeling that's more vulnerable. You feel something that makes you feel small or exposed, and almost instantly, anger rushes in to cover it because anger feels strong and being hurt feels weak. So the fight you're having about the schedule or the tone or the money is almost never actually about the schedule, the tone, or the money. It's about the soft thing the anger is standing in front of. So here's the one idea I want you to carry out of this video. Anger is the bodyguard. Your job is to find out who it's protecting. And when you find out, when you can quietly name the real feeling underneath, two things happen. The temperature drops because the soft feeling doesn't need to shout. And you finally learn what you actually need, which the anger was never going to tell you. So let me give you the short list of who's usually back there because it's almost always one of four. The first is hurt. Someone did something that landed as a wound, and instead of, "that hurt me," which feels exposed, it comes out as, "what is wrong with you?" Hurt in armor. The second is fear. Something felt threatening, a loss, a change, a sense that the ground is moving, and fear is unbearable to sit in, so it flips to anger, which at least feels like doing something. A lot of anger at home is fear wearing a harder face. The third is shame. This is the sneaky one. When something makes you feel like you failed, or you're not enough, or you were caught short, that feeling is so painful that anger jumps in almost instantly to push it away, usually by pointing the finger outward. I feel like a failure becomes, "this is your fault." And the fourth is helplessness. When you feel like you have no control over a situation, a person, an outcome, anger can feel like the only lever left. It's the feeling of being powerless, refusing to be powerless. Now here's the actual skill. It's one question asked inward, in the heat. If I weren't angry right now, what would I be feeling? That's it. Anger is the top card. That question asks what's underneath it. And the first honest answer that comes up, honestly, I feel disrespected. Honestly, I'm scared she's pulling away. Honestly, I feel like I'm failing at this. That answer is gold, because you can't do anything useful with "I'm furious." But you can do a lot with "I'm scared" or "I'm hurt." Those tell you, and eventually the other person, what's actually going on and what you actually need. And you name it to yourself first. You don't have to announce it out loud in the middle of a fight, and that's a later skill. Just landing on it privately. Okay, this is hurt, not rage, is enough to drop the temperature because you've stopped being the anger and started being the person noticing it. Let me be honest about the hard part. Going underneath the anger takes a kind of courage. That's the opposite of what it looks like. It feels weak to admit "I was scared" or "that hurt me," especially if you come from a world where soft got you nowhere or got you hurt. But it's backwards. The anger is the easy default, the reflex. Naming the soft thing underneath is the harder, braver move. It takes more strength to say "I'm hurt" than to slam a door. And you won't always find it in the moment. Sometimes you'll only figure out what was underneath hours later. "Oh, I wasn't really mad about the dishes. I felt invisible." That late find still counts. Every time you name the real feeling, even after the fact, you get a little quicker at catching it next time. If it helps to have something walk you through this when it's happening, that's exactly why I built the app Israz. Notice the trigger, name what you actually feel underneath, choose your response, repair if you need to. It's mine, so weigh that how you want, but it's the tool I wished existed. It's at israz.app. And the honest line, same as always. This is a communication skill, not therapy, and I'm not a substitute for one. If the anger is frequent or heavy, a real professional or an accredited VSO is a strength, not a weakness. And if anything at home has crossed from hard into unsafe, for anyone under that roof that's beyond what a video or an app can hold, please reach out for real support. The Veterans Crisis Line is there anytime. Dial 988, then press 1. Next video, the opposite failure, going cold and saying, I'm fine when you're not, and why silence wounds the people you love as much as the yelling does. Subscribe so it's there when you need it.